I did not. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube for today, our little thing here on nSights. Sorry, my brain is, I forgot to tell Candace that we're going live, and so that's where I'm stuck. But that's okay. She'll see us and she'll let everybody know that we are live. How you doing,
Candace,
Doug? Happy
Candace, she loves
Monday.
you. I'm doing great. It's been a phenomenal day so far with the programmers and building stuff for the convention center, and just tons and tons and tons of work and meetings. But it's
Awesome.
been very, very good, and a lot going on there. And we got some things happening in insights that I'm going to show, and have a little discussion around. And I think you guys will understand. I think some of the method behind the madness, or the madness behind the method. Which way does that go, Deb?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
Very good
it's
question.
just method and madness somehow go together. But no, there's reasons for what we do and why we do them. Okay, and we're going to look at that here real quick. So, and this will be a nice little short call for everybody. But I'm going to share my screen.
Excellent. And Bitcoin is up almost 5% for the day. So
Yeah,
for any of you who started to panic, remember we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, we
and
go
the
up, we
world
go
goes
down,
round and
we go
round and
up.
round.
It's what we do. It's what the coins do. And so that's why we trade them, right?
Right. That, that
Yeah,
that's the only way we make money, is
that's
actually
it.
for them going up and down.
Gotta go
But
up.
and Deb always has her little statement, so I'm going to let her make her little statement before I actually start showing this stuff to you
Yes,
guys.
absolutely. Please remember that this channel is for educational purposes only, and anything that we say that you just do, don't run out and just do it. Please do your own research. This channel is to teach you how to trade. So if you come on and watch, we're going to show you when we get into coins, when we get out of coins, why we do that, what you can look at to determine when you should get in and out. But don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. That's the other one that you want to make sure
Right.
you follow. And yeah, let's look at this. We've got some limit orders going on here.
Yeah, so we set a limit order last week, and we set it at around 51. And guess what? The market didn't get there. Got to 52.6. Now, I will say in my defense, I almost set my limit order at 52.673, Deb.
Oh,
That
so
it, that
close, right?
yeah, I was struggling with.
You
I knew.
knew it. You knew it was going to hit 52, 673.
7.3. All right.
And
That
that
was
right there,
that
guys, is what
that
every single trader out there will tell you, right? I knew that was going to happen. When they miss a trade, I knew that was going to happen.
that's right.
It goes up, you decide not to sell, and then it drops. And oh, boy, I knew that was going to happen. Guys, nobody knows.
Nobody
Do
knows.
not believe
Yeah.
Mr.
Well,
Kyle right now.
what we do know is after the fact of where it decided to make its move and changes, but that's okay. And we could look at this in hindsight and analyze it and say, you know, maybe this number was a good number to kind of target that area. I can see it hit here and here, and it was a top there. But at some point, you're going to pick your barriers. And whatever those barriers are that you're going to pick, those are the ones you're going to go with. And so in this case, I picked a deeper barrier because I was already in the trade, and I wanted to make sure that it went deeper. In fact, I'm in the trade multiple ways. What do I mean by that? Okay. So in one aspect, I'm trading limit orders where I'm just trying to accumulate Bitcoin. In another way, I'm trading my grids and I'm trading Bitcoin. So what happened in one of my grids? Okay, so I missed it in my limit order, and I'm going to go cancel that limit order and take that money back and maybe use it in a grid. But if you look at my grid here, so I have a grid running, okay, and if I look and I have cost averages running in my grid, okay, and let's let this load up. This was my system is running slow again, so
And
this
while we're
was
waiting
slow a
for your
while ago.
system, you said, and you're going to cancel that and you're going to move it and do something else with it today. What I want to make sure that people understand is that doesn't mean that Doug feels that Bitcoin will never drop down to 51 or below. That
Correct.
doesn't mean that at all. He's saying, let's take my money and let it work for me right now. At this moment, at 56,428, it certainly doesn't look like it's about to have a massive drop back down to 51 in the next, 24 hours. So why not pull that money out and use it somewhere else, right? So that's what we're going to look at here.
Right. So I have grids running, and if you look at my grid, you look at where it did buy,
Look at that.
and that's sweet, right?
That is sweet. That's
So
good.
my cost averages did find the bottom because I'm doing this bottom move and it saw the pressure going up, did a buy, and it cost averaged this trade down. And now this trade is probably right at break even or maybe even a little bit in profit.
Wow.
It wouldn't have been if it stayed up here. So when I say I'm trading multiple ways, I'm trading to buy limit orders to accumulate, and I have my grids trading automatically, and sometimes I go in and do manual buys. I did not do this one manually, at least I don't remember doing it manually. So I think this was an auto buy, but let's go look here, right? And it's this one right here. And sure enough, it's an auto. Okay.
Automatic.
So the
That's
system,
fantastic.
yeah, system did what it was supposed to do, and I did what I was supposed to do. And what does that mean? It means when I chose to take a risk, I said that risk is only worth it to me if it gets to 51.5.
Right.
And if it doesn't, I'm willing to not take that trade.
Right.
And I'm willing to take this money and maybe go use it somewhere else. Then if it drops again, then I can reanalyze and say, maybe at that point, I come back to this and say, okay, let's buy now. But I'm staying fluid with the market, and I have all my trading lines. Like if I'm fishing, right, I got all my trading lines in the water. I like
Right.
when I go to the beach and watch guys do this, fishing from the beach, surf fishing, they
Right.
call it. And I've done it, and I'm out there with one pole, right? And then I look at guys that really do this, and they got like a line of
Yeah.
poles
Right.
all in the water, right?
Right.
Who's going to catch more fish, me with one pole or them with a bunch of poles in? So the concept is yeah, this is just one of the poles that didn't catch a fish. All right, no big deal. So now I can decide if I want to cancel this. So I can archive this trade. Let's go look at our mid wallet here real quick. Boy, my system is slow today. All right, so I'm going to add some BUSD. For some reason, that's showing a negative, probably. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this thing. Can't use more BUSD than you have, so it was trying to use it somewhere. Don't want to go to other verse. Confirm that. So that's archive. So that should take that 150 now, free it up. And if my system isn't running too slow, it should come back to my mid wallet and free that money up. So we'll see if that happens. Again, my system is just super slow today. Yep, sure enough, it's back. And so I have my money back. And so now I can decide, I can go back to my grids here, and I can take a look at all of my grids or my Bitcoin grid. I can decide if there's a place where I want to use that money, and I don't know if there is right now. So I love doing this live with you guys. So I want to just have a look at, first I want to have a look at Bitcoin, right? I have one grid line, and I have one open trade. I got, so number of pullbacks is one, and I got one open. So I may want to add an additional line here, which I could use that money for that.
Sure. Now,
So
one thing I do want to say, Doug, is something to keep in mind, and I hear people talking about coins all the time. I hear people getting excited about coins. And it starts to happen when you see what's happening with Bitcoin right now. This is just a little up for Bitcoin, really, but it's having this in 2 hours, it's gone up considerably, right? And people see that and they start to get really, really excited and they start to chase a coin. Now, in this case, Bitcoin is way lower than it has been in the very recent past, right? So this is not any kind of significant uprun, but a lot of people will see this uprun that's going up higher than where it's been in the previous past, and they'll start chasing that coin, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that we just like to remind everybody to
Yeah.
stay away from the coin chasers.
Yeah.
Never chase trades. Let the trade come to you, and be smart about it.
So there's an example of that. I won't give you the coin name. It's a coin that a lot of people, a lot of MLMers, a lot of people are pushing right now. It went up to $120 a coin. It would last week it was down at 60. So it's ballistically getting pushed up by marketers and people in the market. At near the top a couple of days ago, actually in the last 2 days, I think it was, somebody cashed out $300,000. Okay. And that coin took a drop. Now it's come back up. Now it's coming back down because somebody else cashed out 90,000. If you're that person that bought it at 120, you're like you're you're in trouble, right? Especially if you put any amount of money in there, because the person that just cashed out at 320,000 just took your money,
Took your
right?
money. Yeah.
Now, the argument is the same thing could have happened at 70 and 80 and 90,000, and it didn't. You don't know where that's going to happen. In a vertical run up, it's very risky, to go in too heavy. So you can scale in, you could do different things in a run. You could, scale in, put certain amount in. In fact, I could teach this class where you could scale in, market goes up, you move your stop up on that money so it's at break even, right, or in profit. Then you add a little bit money and you keep moving your positions up so that you cover yourself if somebody does that. Now, if it gaps down, you're in trouble still. And on a $300,000 sell, I would imagine it was a pretty decent gap down. And so a lot of people were in trouble. But that's a whole nother lesson. But very good point. We never, ever chase trades, right? We look for pullbacks, and the way that we designed our system, that if somebody did that, where it's this gap down, let's say you set a pullback of 15, 20% or 10% or whatever it was, and that person sold and the market went ballistically down through where you wanted to buy, our system won't buy. It waits until it hits the bottom, and it went down to, I think, about from $120 down to about $75. Okay. And then it had some up pressure, and then it went back up to about 110, I think it was, and then back down to in the 90s. So, but in that case, it would have bought down around 75, 80, just like this one bought here on Bitcoin, right? It didn't buy on this down. It waited for the buy pressure to come in and read that volume and bought. So that would have done the same thing on that coin, and it would have bought deep, and then you would have been in tremendous profit. So there's ways to play that. It's just chasing it is very, very risky. I know a lot of people love like trading the momentum. To me, it's always been a high risk in that, any of it, whether the market's dropping, unless you design a system that won't buy on the down, it can all be, kind of risky depending on which way you go. Anyways, all right, Bitcoin. I only have one line. I'm going to add a line here so that I have two trade lines. I'm going to set up I'm going to set up an aggressive entry, pullback entry, so that if I get any pullback in here, I'm going to be in. It may come back down, test the bottom, or it may break the bottom, come back down to my 51 number that I was targeting.
Right.
But then I use my cost averaging, to manage this trade. So again, putting as many fishing lines in the water as I possibly can manage it with my money, right, without over trading.
Right.
So, all right, so let's do that. I'm going to come back down to Bitcoin here. So I canceled that one limit order. I'm going to use that money now. I'm going to edit this trade. I'm going to go to pull back lines. I see I have one, and I do have my phone over here being charged up. All right, so let me get this bad boy on. All right, so let's say we're going to add one additional line. Okay. And I'm going to look at my pullback rules first. I'm on custom at 5.5. So this will still give me time to deal with it, but I'm gonna set it at 75 right now, and so I can add that line and then come in and really look at where I want everything to happen. Okay, update that. Now let's go in here, edit, pullback lines. Let's say 1. I'm gonna get my
So when he's adding a pullback line here, he is taking money directly out of his mid wallets, which we saw he had money sitting in a limit order, doing nothing unless the market went back down to 51, right? It wasn't going to do anything. So he canceled the limit order that moved the money back into his mid wallet, BUSD in his mid wallet. Now he's moving that BUSD back into, not back into, but into this grid as a second grid line that will take a trade if the market drops down, what was it, 3.5% or so?
That's what we're going to end up setting. I currently set it at 75 to give myself time to go look at it.
Sure,
and but yes, and we'll set it at a tighter number and update that. Now my lines will go from 1 to 2. There they are. So I have a pending. And if I look at my lines now, let's get this out of my way.
Might need to hit refresh there.
I've got so much stuff open on my system working on the convention center. It's just like every time I hit the button, it kind of looks at me like, really? You want me to do that?
What are you asking?
All right, there it is. So what I didn't know was, where was it going to actually do the peak high? This was the last transaction, and so it is doing the peak high correctly, but you may not know that. You may not know how the algorithm works. So if you set a deep one, it will then show you where the peak high is, right? And now I can see this is 75 down to here. But really what I want to know is, if it pulls back into this range, what is that custom range that I need to set it at? And this is going to be important, guys, because I may need to change this. That's at about 10% or so. That's about where I want it. So if, now let me walk you through the scenarios that can happen here. Okay. It's measuring this as the peak high because of the last sell that took place. It starts measuring the highs, and whatever the highest point is after the last sell, that's where my peak high is going to be. If I set this here, it's trying to say that this is going to try to buy at this range. Now, if, and this is the magic, kind of the magic of the secret sauce here, if this trade goes up and sells, because here's the current price and we're almost at even. So if this goes up and sells, this will become my new sell point, right? Not here. It'll sell, it'll put a blue dot somewhere over here if this goes up and sells. This then will no longer be my current high. Anything after this sells point is going to look for pullbacks. This dot could move over to right here, right?
Yeah.
And then my 10% would be way down here, which could be good if the market decided to take a drop, or if the market keeps going up, this will follow it up until it gets back here. Or I'm going to have to come in and adjust this range because I'm really predicting it off at this point. And if I get a new point, I really do need to rethink. And if I don't rethink and the market goes up, eventually it's going to come back and hit, and I'll get a good entry from there. So if I don't do it, it'll probably play out and be okay anyways. But if I want to stay really current with the market, if this one sells before this one gets in, then I need to think about maybe readjusting that. So that's just a little caveat that you need to be aware of. So I like the kind of 10% range. It puts me right there. Let's do that.
Love it.
All right. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to edit now my pullback rule. I'm going to stay on, well, let's just go conservative, which is 9.5%. Okay. And let's see where that puts us. Let's see where the dot updates. And if I don't like that, then I'll go to custom. Okay.
Right.
Yay, huh?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
We got all kinds of options.
I love it. I love the options. And I love that you also say, if you don't want to come out here and micromanage your grids, you don't have to, because whatever settings you put in there, it's just going to follow them. It's going to buy when it's ready. It's going to sell when it's ready.
Right.
It just does it all for you. But if you know how to trade, it's a lot of fun to follow the market and come in and make a few adjustments and get a trade that wasn't set up to happen. And it's just fun.
Yeah, and look at that. I like that. So if this
Nice.
up, retest back down, I'll be in the game. Then I'll cost average if it goes deeper. I'm going to leave it there. Little aggressive, and we can see that is roughly 2.81% behind the market. Mm-hmm. I'm not buying into the top. If I get a little relief and it retests down a little bit, most likely going to get in. And then if it retests the top and break, I'm in the game. So all good. If it goes up a little bit higher, then, I'll relook at it. So we'll see what we want to do at that point. But the key is I'm in the game. And like Deb said, if you want to micromanage it, if you're a little bit OCD, ADA, all of those initials like I am, then you probably will want to do some of this stuff. So anyways, Deb, that's the lesson for today. So use money somewhere didn't happen, but the money that I had multiple fishing lines in did happen. And now I'm rebaiting my hook, so to speak, and changing my my fishing hole.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Very smart. Very smart. Yeah, and who knows what Bitcoin's going to do, guys. It could notice he's not chasing the trade. We talked a lot about that today, but he's not chasing it. He's not saying, "Ooh, get me in right now. Add a grid line and buy now." No, he's saying, "Add a grid line, and if I get another pullback, even though we're still fairly deep, right?
Right.
He still wants a pullback, and that's what you can do. We could drop all the way down to the 51. We could go down to 45. We could hit the 30 or even the 6.
Well, we know there's some major players that are selling off, right? And that you guys can go out and do that research. There's some major players selling off, and they're not done. So I'm not going to chase the trade into that sell-off. I'm going to take advantage of that sell-off the best way I can. And I don't have to know what Bitcoin's going to do. All I got to do is make sure that, I'm got everything covered multiple ways, the best way that I can to take advantage of whatever it does. So.
Yeah, I love that. And all of the coins that we trade, it's not just Bitcoin. We go in with the same mindset on any coin that we're trading, right?
Right.
And Bitcoin, it's a little easier to pull the trigger because it's a well-respected coin and has, huge
Right.
potential. It's not going anywhere, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, those kinds of coins. Meme coins right now are all the rage. A lot of people are jumping into meme coins, and just always, always, always do your research. Make sure it's not just some group behind there wanting to raise the price up so that they can sell off it and earn their 300,000 and walk away. That's your money that they that they took. So just be careful out there, but have fun. Trading is a lot of fun.
You guys ever want to do something very interesting, and it takes a lot of thinking and things to kind of do this, but you can go into a contract, go in and see all of their buys and sells and everything that they're doing, and take a section of that and put it in AI and ask AI, what is this doing? And have AI analyze those meme coins. Have them analyze the buys and sells, and have it analyze the propping up of the coin where they're adding money to the coin, and then look at the sell-offs, and then ask yourself, like that $300,000 sell-off, how long can a coin prop itself up when people start doing massive sell-offs? Not very long.
Yeah.
There's a limited amount of money there. So you start looking at the sell-offs and looking at the prop ups, and then you can begin to see, you can begin to tell when the game might be over, unless somebody's got really, really, really deep pockets and they love their coin. There's a point where you can't do it anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
well, excellent. Doug, thank you so much. That was a great lesson. And what's today? Monday. We come back again on Wednesday, guys. So
Wednesday.
We'll see you here. Oh, I did want to mention we've got a few people on. We've got Jeff is here, Kenneth Parr is here, Perry Vant, Gary Brennan. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And hopefully by Wednesday, Friday at the latest, we're going to have a whole lot more updates on the convention center and, what we're doing in other verse and stuff. So hang in there. We're working very, very hard on that, and super excited about getting that out to everybody. So pay attention. Wednesday, Friday, things are coming. So
I love it. All right, Doug. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb.